problems like this? Do all of these fractions have the same denominator?
No.
No. So what they want to know is, can you figure out fractions that don't have the same denominator? Can you figure out where they go on a number line? The answer is yes, you can. Here's the best way that I know how to break it down. You guys are really good at some bar models. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So what I would prefer you do is next to each section, I want you to say the fraction and then do a quick sketch. So January, how would I say January's fraction? Courtney, how would I say that?
You would have a number line, or
No, that's not what I'm saying. How would I say this fraction? That's exactly what I mean. Read this to me. 1/4. That's what I want you to do. Just say it. 1/4. So let's do a quick little sketch out to the side. Let's partition into 4s. And I'm going to do a quick little 1/4. Just to make sure I know exactly what I'm talking about. Alright. Dylan, can you read February's fraction to me? 1/2. Same thing. I'm going to do my bar. A quick little sketch. Nothing crazy. What is March's distance? Oh! Tricky. The tricky one. Gabriella?
So it's like the 1/2, but you color in both.
Say it.
So,
How do I say that fraction?
2 halves.
2 halves. You're exactly right. It's going to look very similar to my 1/2, but I'm going to color in both.
So it's 1 whole.
So it's 1 whole. She ran 1 whole mile. 2 half miles. Ugh, what about April? Oh, that's tricky. That's tricky. Brian, what do you think April is?
1.5 miles.
Nope, not 1.5 miles. Think about what that denominator is. If your denominator is 1, can you break something into 1 part? Are you sure? Do you know what it is?
Yes.
What is it?
It's one whole.
Nope.
Or 2 holes.
It is 2 wholes. If I have to break something into 1 part, it looks like this. That is 1 part. And I color the whole thing in. Here's another part. Another whole. When I have a denominator of 1, that's not a fraction. That's just another way of saying a whole number. So if I have 2 wholes, you know what that looks like. So I would say that April fraction, 2 wholes. So put your finger on April's fraction. Look at it and say 2 wholes.
2 holes.
Great. So if you know that April, she ran 2 whole miles, how far did she run in May? How far did she run in May? Parker? 4 holes. I'm going to draw 4 whole miles. 4 whole boxes to represent 4 whole miles. Now, was this step necessary?
Yes.
Technically, no, you didn't have to do it. But I think that really helps you visualize what each number is. Georgiana, hang on to that question, okay? Alright, we need to figure out what our endpoints are going to be for our number line. Normally, our number line goes 0 to 1. Does that make sense for this problem?
No. Yes.
Damian, does that make sense for this problem? Why?
Because it says on May she ran 4 holes.
Yeah, so if our number line only goes from 0 to 1 hole, do we have enough space to put 4 holes?
No. Actually, yes.
No, we don't. If our number line goes from 0 to 1 hole, where are you going to put 4 holes?
You can put 1 hole in the middle.
Yeah, that's not what I said. If our number line goes from 0 to 1.
Not like that.
That's what I'm asking. So can we agree that the front of our number line is still going to be 0?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. Go ahead and label it 0. What should we make the end of our number line in order to fit all of our fractions? Aiden, what do you think?
4.
Why do you say 4?
Because it would be even to all ones from 0 holes to 4 holes.
See, that makes sense. So here, have a seat. You're across the room. You're not getting up. Yeah, we know that my biggest fraction is worth 4 holes. So I'm going to write 4, and then below that I'm going to write the fraction version, which is 4 holes. Please do this on your number line. Georgina, do you have a question? Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the whole numbers down. Right now this is the number line going 0 to 4. It's a regular number line going 0 to 4. What should I probably put in the middle if I'm making a number line that goes from 0 to 4? Not a trick question. Dylan? 2. Is this a half, Dylan? Yes? No? Well, it's half of 4 holes, but is that 2 stand for 1/2? No. What does that 2 stand for? What does that 2 stand for? What does that 2 stand for, Dylan? 2 holes. That is 2 holes. I might even write it in there just to remind myself. What's the fraction that's represented for 2 holes? What fraction would I write? Georgiana, what would I write? No. 2 halves is equal to 1 whole. Cheyenne? Yeah, it literally reads 2 holes. But yeah, it's going to look like that. 2 pieces of 1 whole pieces. You're exactly right. Alright, go ahead and label the rest of our whole numbers, which includes 1 whole and 3. Whoops. I'm used to doing fractions. 3 holes. So right now I have a regular number line. It goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, the whole numbers.
This is just regular whole numbers. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I am going to put May, where would May go on my number line? I want to put May's distance. Where is that going to go on my number line? Tajir?
It's going to go on the end where the 4 is.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put A, B, C, D, E. And those will be like our markers when we put them on the number line. That way it just makes it a little easier to see. So Tajir is exactly right. May, or what I just called point E, is going to go right at the very end. Because in May, she ran 4 whole miles. Well, 4 holes is right at the back of my number line. What about April? Where's April's distance going to go on my number line? Mason? On what line? The 3. Can you read April's distance to me? 2 holes. And it's going to go on the 3. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Going to be what? The middle of 3? On the 2 hole spot. That's right here. 2 holes. That's going to be point D. Do we see that? Are there questions about this? Anybody confused on how I figured that out? Gabriella, what's your question? Now let's do marks. Let's do C. Aiden just read it to us. It reads 2 halves. Where is that going to go on my number line? I don't have any halves, but I still can figure out where it goes. Sam, quit messing with your hand. It's going to be this long. Grace, where's it going to go?
In between 0 and 1.
It is not going to go in between 0 and 1. McKenna, where is it going to go?
On 3.
It's going to go on the 3. Is 2 halves equal to 3 wholes? So it's not going to go on the 3. Brian, where's it going to go? On the 1. Is 2 halves equal to 1 whole?
Yes.
Yes. Even though I don't have any halves on my number line right now, I know 2 halves equals 1 whole. Do I have a 1 whole on my number line? Yes, I do. All I've done is count by whole numbers. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 whole is right here. That's going to be point C. Now we're going to get tricky. Courtney, what is February's fraction?
1
1 half. Is that bigger than a whole or smaller than a whole?
Smaller.
So, is it going to go anywhere down here?
No.
No, because these are all whole numbers. 1 half is definitely smaller than 3 wholes. Right?
Yeah.
This fraction is going to go in between 0 and 1 because it's not quite a whole. Where is it going to go in between 0 and 1? This is tricky. Tricky. Natalie? Right in the middle. Go ahead. I want to hear your answer as to why.
Because it is, it's only 1 half of 1 whole.
Yes. I want you to put on binoculars. And I want you to zoom into my number line and only look at 0 to 1, which is what we're used to looking at. Can you see 2 pieces that we've broken it up into?
Yes.
So we have our half pieces, and we put our dot right in the middle to symbolize 1 half. All right, binoculars off. All right, point A. This is probably the trickiest one to find. That fraction is 1/4. Where is 1/4 going to go on our number line? I got some whole numbers. I found a half. That's point B. Where's 1/4 going to go? Cord, what do you think?
Between point B and 0.
How did you figure that out?
Because 1/4 1/4 is 2/4 equal to 1 half.
Awesome.
So it would be in the middle because it's 1/4, not 2/4.
Yeah. Is 1/4 bigger or smaller than 1/2?
Smaller.
Smaller. Gabriella, I already said binoculars are off. Please look in my direction. 1/4 is smaller than 1/2, and that's 1/2 right there. Cord did a great job. If you imagine your fraction pieces, he said 1/2 is equal to 2/4. Okay, cool. I only want 1/4. That's going to leave me with half of that tiny chunk. Is point A. Please make sure your number line is partitioned correctly. This is an EOG style question that you're going to see. They did not break apart a number line into halves and fourths for you, but you had to figure out where they went anyway. Use your equivalent fractions brain to help you figure out where they go. Because these are going to be on the EOG, guaranteed. They might have a number line that has halves, but ask you about questions that have fourths in them. Use your equivalent fractions. Okay? Alright, let's keep going. I'm going to put this on dual screen first. So the first thing that you need to do is we need to figure out what fraction is represented. Let's start with the denominator. How do I figure out the denominator of my pizza that Jenna was eating? Gabriella, how do I figure that out?
And counting the shaded.
Nope, not for the denominator.
Counting the unshaded.
Not for the denominator. No, I am not. Courtney, how do I find out the denominator?
You're supposed to count all of the spaces.
Everything that makes up the whole. Draw my fraction line. What is the denominator, Gabriella?
8.
8. There are 8 slices to make up my whole.
And 4.
What's going to be my numerator? Read this carefully. Sometimes the questions will ask you about the shaded. Sometimes they'll try and trick you and ask you about the not shaded. Don't get tricked. Don't get tricked. Susie, how are we going to figure out the numerator?
Count the ones that are shaded or not shaded.
No, nope. Read your question. We're not counting either or. Sit up. Yeah, our problem says she ate the shaded slices. Sometimes they might try and trick you and they might say the unshaded or not shaded. How many slices were shaded, Susie? 4. Yay, we got our fraction for 8. Wait, I don't have that answer choice. Am I going to raise my hand and say, Miss Miller, the right answer is not on here?
No, because there's always
No. You are not going to raise your hand and tell me that Susie is wrong.
It's because there's always a right answer.
There is a right answer. Who do we think this is going to be? I don't have 4 8s as an answer choice. It must be 8 fourths. They probably just wrote it backwards. No, that is completely different. It is a fraction, but it is not our fraction. Kajir, what is going to be our equivalent fraction that we're looking for?
We're looking for 8/4.
Am I?
Yes, because when we were doing bar models and we were looking for equivalent problems, if the numerator, if the numerator was bigger, then we would flip it.
Who is teaching you math? I have not taught you to flip anything.
When we were doing bar models, we instead of doing because we did. Well, when the numerator is bigger, then we can turn it around.
No, I don't know who taught you that. That is not how that works.
Well, you said that we could, that when we were doing our symbol, that we could no.
So let's look at 8 fourths just for funsies. I'm going to have a bar, and I'm going to split it into how many pieces, Tajir? No. 4, because my denominator is 4, yes?
We can't see 8.
Yes, I can. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to do what now? No, I'm still going to have 4 pieces.
So now we're going to make another one. That does not. Yeah, because there's.
Do I have 4 to make a whole?
No.
Does 4 slices make 1 whole?
Yes.
Yes. And how many pieces did I color?
8.
8. That is a picture of 8 fourths, aka 2 wholes. No one has taught you to flip anything. And if you were listening to what I said instead of only thinking about what you were going to say, you would have heard me say, oh, is it just 8 fourths? They just wrote it upside down? Because didn't I say that? Yes, and you guys all said no, and then you said, oh, it's 8 fourths. Let's listen, friends. Alright, we know it's not 8 fourths. They did not make a mistake and write it upside down. They'll never think that. Because that is never the case. Ever.
They did, they would take it back from me.
They would not do that. So we know it's not 8 fourths. What is it going to be? Is it going to be 4, 6? Because it's at least got a 4 in it.
No. The 6, the whole is the 6.
My denominators are not going to work out. Cheyenne, what are we thinking? Stop. Can I show you something? Remember when we did mystery fractions and we talked about how it didn't really matter where we colored? I'm going to recolor Jenna's slices just to put in a little bit different order. So I'm going to erase those two, and instead of putting them over here, I'm going to put her 2 slices like this.
Dun, dun, dun. I was going to say that.
Does that make it a little easier for your brain to see?
Yeah. Yes.
Did my pieces change?
No.
No. I just moved them around a little bit. You are going to see problems like this. You'll figure out the fraction, and none of those answer choices will be that fraction. Use your equivalent fractions knowledge. I guarantee you're going to have questions where you need to use equivalent fractions. Yes.
I also knew it was A because
To school, then her best friend Alexis. Caitlin walks 4/6 of a mile to school, and Alexis walks 4/8 of a mile to school. Do you agree with Caitlin? Read that problem again in your head, and then I want you to create an answer sentence, please. All right, what kind of answer sentence would make sense with this problem? Sam, what you got?
I believe because
Love it. I blank agree with Caitlin because if you wrote something similar or the exact same thing, awesome. We're going to put either agree or don't agree in that blank. If you want to change your answer sentence, that's totally fine. Okay, somebody tell me in words, what does this problem want me to do? Don't do the math for me, but tell me, what is it trying to get me to do? I have to be able to figure out what it wants me to do before I can even do it. This is where our models come in play. Our pictures come into play. What is this problem asking me to do? Georgiana, do you know what it's trying to get me to do?
trying to do a model and kind of what we done for the pizza problem. Kind of instead
I am trying to compare fractions. I need to know who walks more. Bar models will work. What's another strategy, Gabriella, instead of a bar model?
Number line.
A number line. Pick whatever strategy makes your brain happy. And we need to compare the distance that Caitlin walked. She walks 4/6 of a mile to the distance of Alexis. Alexis walked 4/8 of a mile. Are you going to draw circles?
No.
Please don't. Best two fractions or fraction models would be either a bar model or a number line. Whatever makes your brain happy. My personal favorite, and I think a lot of you like this model as well, is a bar model. If you chose a number line, completely fine. Number lines don't make my brain happy, but if they make your brain happy, go to town. Okay. My first fraction, I'm going to go with Caitlin, so I'm going to put a K next to my bar. She walks 4/6 of a mile. Am I going to partition my number line into fourths or sixths? Because I have a 4 and a 6. Am I going to break it into fourths or am I going to break it into sixths? Grace, what you think?
I think that we're going to break it into 6 because the denominator is 6 and the denominator is how many pieces you have and the numerator is the piece's shape.
Perfect. My denominator is 6, and that tells me how many pieces I have. Can I find a middle for 6?
Yes.
Yes.
It's 3.
And it should be 1/2. And if you've been playing our Uncover the Whole game, 1/2 is equal to how many? 6. Do you know, Gabriella?
That's
3. So I'm going to have 3 6 on this side and 3 6 on that side. Kaishir, how many am I going to color in or shade in?
You're going to shade it in 4 because that's what the numerator says.
Beautiful.
And whatever your numerator is how much you shade.
Could I color my 4 in any spots?
Yes.
Yes.
But
Just like the pizza problem, I could shade in random pieces. But it makes our brain a little crazy when we do that. It's a lot easier if we just start at one end, right, Brian, and shade across. Alright, my next bar, we're going to name A for Alexis. Am I going to break apart Alexis's bar into 4ths or 8ths? What do you think, Sam? How do you know?
Because 8 is the denominator, and the denominator is how many pieces there are.
Very good. Is there going to be a middle?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just 4.
Can you tell me what the middle is going to be if you've been playing Uncover the Whole? 4 what? 4 8 is equal to 1/2, which means I'm going to have 4 8 on this side, and then 4 8 on this side. And she walked, what, 4 of them? Okay. Who walked more? Who walked more? Parker, who walked more?
Caitlin.
Caitlin walked more. You can easily tell because Caitlin's bar is farther shaded across. So do we agree with Caitlin?
Yes, we do.
I agree. We can say I do agree with Caitlin. And then I want you to use the rest of your words to tell me why you agree with Caitlin. Just finish out that sentence. I do agree with Caitlin. Gabriella, quit messing with your Band-Aid or whatever you're playing with. Okay, quit messing with your leg. Get a pencil in your hand. I do agree with Caitlin because why?